City crews aren't taking a break from spraying for mosquitoes, especially after the rains we had in the last couple of weeks. Our Brian Burns details where vector control will be working in the city tonight.
Our vector control officers are definitely still working on the holidays. We realize that the mosquito population is still in influx right now. So we're doing our best, and we've initiated our strategic spraying schedule to try to get it under control.
Joel Skidmore, who heads Animal Care Services, which includes vector control, says they worked through last week and recognize the city is experiencing a large increase of mosquitoes due to our recent heavy rainfall.
Last Friday was the last time we sprayed, so we sprayed the Flower Bluff area on Friday. We're moving into the island this Monday.
Skidmore says they continue to use the number of mosquitoes found in traps throughout the city to determine where to spray next.
Those traps, again, are more along the areas that we know where the breeding is happening. That way we can always have an effective idea of how concentrated the breeding population is.
The routes marked for spraying this week include Annaville along the river, Calallen, the Southside, and the North Beach and West sides of town.
That way we can have an idea when we start to see the effectiveness of the spraying, the population in the traps will start to decrease.
Some reminders include to use insect repellent containing DEET, dress in long sleeves and pants when you're outside. Dawn and dusk are the times of day when mosquitoes are most active, so avoid being out there at those times. Regularly drain standing water, including water collected in empty cans, tires, buckets, clogged rain gutters, and more. And of course, don't forget your pets. Skidmore says they hope to keep mosquito populations down this season. Brian Burns, 3 News.